Hello, Reese from the Music Podcast Thingy. Very fresh podcast for 2021, our first one for the year. Woo! First things first, we've got a new lighting thingy here, so you can see all the pores on my skin now, which is wicked. Stoked. But it's just better lighting. So I'm not just relying on some ambient stuff. Anyway, our first podcast for the year is Chelsea and Tom from AXE-ident. I've known Chelsea for 10 years now. I think might be 11 years now. Anyway, we go way back, but yeah, AXE-ident brought out a new single in Wind Blows just recently, and very cool song. And the film clip itself is sick. It's mermaidy and all underwater. It's very cool. So we talk about that. We talk about production wise with AXE-ident, how they do their thing. And we talk about the gross finger incident. And I know it sounds sus, but if just watch, listen, and you'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, people of all sorts, Chelsea and Tom from AXE-ident. We're rolling. It is AXE-ident, Chelsea and Tom. How are we both?
Hey.
Yay! There we go. That's working. That's good. Woo! Firstly, because you're in the no-no square of New South Wales, aren't you?
I think we're still in the safe zone.
You're still in the safe zone, so you don't have cooties and it's all good?
Depending which state you talk to.
Yeah, true. But,
Yeah.
all right. Firstly, Wind Blows is an epic song, so well done on that one.
Thanks.
We'll talk about the film clip for it, which is the best part of that whole experience, is that film clip, which we've shared. But you guys are pretty much DIY, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can see by the vocal recording setup right behind you.
We're doing some pre-production at the moment.
Oh, so is Wind Blows like part? Because you've already done. You did an EP. Was last year? The year before?
The year before.
Man, last year's
It was in 2019. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 2019 we released 2 EPs.
Yeah, because they had the rain on it and all that sort of stuff too, didn't it?
Yeah, we had one EP which was kind of our debut homegrown trip hop EP, and then we had the second one which was like a full band EP, which also included a remix by Stay Nice.
Ooh.
And a bit of a jungle tune, The Seed, which we made a film clip for. And
it was called Pyrocumulus. And
I do remember that.
Yeah. And we found this awesome sky related name for the EP, and then we were actually seeing pyrocumulus clouds like the same week that it launched.
Do you want to explain what a pyrocumulus actually is? Because most people just think they're just going, what the fuck?
Well, there's a couple of different meanings for it, but one of them is like the cloud of smoke that comes from a big fire, or it can also be a cloud that I think it has some kind of electricity in the cloud that can start a fire, like lightning or dry lightning or something. I don't really understand that second part of it, but
science.
Yeah.
The ones that we were seeing were the big clouds of smoke, like really dark clouds. Yeah. Pyrocumulus.
If you're wondering why I was looking a bit weird just now, I just realised you're blurry because I don't have my fucking glasses on.
Yeah.
Man, it's been one of those days, so I'm just going to put my glasses on. So Wind Blows. Yeah, I'll put my glasses on, but Wind Blows, right? It's slightly different to what you brought out previously. I don't know if you guys think that way, but I found it a little bit different. I don't know how to explain why I thought it was different. I just remember going, "Oh shit, this is a progression in what AXE-ident has been doing," and I think this is more like you said, you brought out 2 EPs, right? And I have a feeling that this one here is you actually. I know, listening to your voice now, Chelsea, it's way more confident in this song than what it had been previously. Like I knew you could sing, but this song is definitely, it's a lot more confidence in your vocals. I think that was one of the things that stood out. I don't know if you're feeling that way.
I think we took it up a notch during the 2020 business and all the lockdowns.
And the finger injury.
Yeah.
I actually took the time to invest in some more equipment and educate ourselves on how to use it better. So the actual recording process, the arrangement, everything is probably a little bit more sophisticated than the previous material.
And I've been singing a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
Just getting used to.
Is that because of the finger injury? Because of the fact that you couldn't play, so that's the only thing you really could do?
Finger injury. The finger injury, yeah. I could really only sing and play a little bit of one-handed keys.
Yeah.
So I think I got a little bit better at singing. But that song was recorded before the finger injury.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it really does show, like, seriously. Like, I've always sort of been interested in what you guys have created, because we've both been in part of, like, projects together a long time ago, and we've seen each other evolve. But watching SkyEater go from where you start out and hearing some of the original sort of recordings and demos, and then hearing this one, this is why I sort of, like, went, yep, cool, let's chat about it, because it is a fucking cool song.
Thanks.
I think I took quite a long hiatus from production while I was living in my bus and living the gypsy life, traveling around touring with bands. And when I started working with Chelsea, she asked me to put a bit of bass on a couple of tunes that she'd recorded. And, you know, we had old equipment and very basic audio interfaces, all this kind of stuff, and one cheap microphone. And it went from just chucking a bit of bass on the tracks to going into this elaborate production process, which kind of reignited my inspiration for production. And that's when we started to upgrade the equipment and educate ourselves on using Ableton as a live performance tool, and through doing heaps of gigs up and down the country with Ableton loop stations set up. And I think that our collaboration has matured a lot from me accompanying Chelsea's songs into us kind of integrating both of our arrangements and compositions and instrumental skills.
So, Tom, with your music, because you've got a pretty sort of diverse musical background as well. That, I mean, I've always been a lover of sort of trip hop, and that's why I was a little bit excited when you guys started mucking around with that. So is that a lot of your sort of influence coming through as well? Like coming through with a bit of Massive Attack,
I remember the
Portishead kind of stuff, man. So
yeah, well, back at that time when that was kicking off, I was in the UK. And I was a teenager in Essex, and that was some of the music that really moved and inspired me when I was first picking up a guitar. And, you know, having that kind of adolescent musical awakening that you go through, and finding a deep emotional connection to music. And it was partly Portishead were a big thing, Tricky and Massive Attack and all that kind of stuff, but also a lot of drum and bass and jungle and all that kind of really gritty scene that was going on over there. And this has become a really good outlet for those areas of inspiration that are quite close to my heart and my roots.
Yeah, and it's been a progression.
So do you draw back on that kind of like those times and styles when you started creating some new SkyEater material?
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely.
Actually, this Christmas we got a record player.
Yay!
From the cat.
Cat got us a record player.
The cat's loaded, man.
The cat is loaded. She's a very lucky kitten. She's on JobKeeper. So the first record that I went out and bought from Howl and Moan in Byron Bay was Portishead Dummy.
Yeah, good album.
A great album, and it's a beautiful thing to listen to that on vinyl. And it's a really there's some really great insights about how that album was created.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That Chelsea actually pointed out to me. I didn't know, because they got so many beautiful gritty loops and really interesting creative production.
Back when you
stuff
could
going
do that without getting in trouble, basically.
Well, they didn't sample anyone else. They actually recorded a drummer in a Schmick studio, then pressed the drum recordings in vinyl, and then fucked up the vinyl.
Oh, what?
Just messed up the vinyl to make it all
kicked it around, gravel, and then re-recorded that.
Re-recorded the drum loops back in again.
Wow.
Things like this.
That's one of the stories.
There's sections where they've recorded the vocals and the guitar, this shitty old guitar, and recorded them on a tape dictaphone, and then played that into the microphone.
To get that really sort of like lo-fi sort of gramophone.
Yeah, that choked lo-fi section. So when it all comes back in full res, it sounds amazing. And so we've started to really get, dig back and get inspired by that. And I think one of our missions now is going to be releasing an actual record this year. That's the next step.
Yeah, join the queue, man. I've been waiting to release Barefoot's one for the last 4 goddamn years.
Oh, what?
It's 4 years in the making.
Wow.
We're finally doing it. Sorry?
Yeah. It's often that way.
And we were supposed to release it in April last year.
Probably a bad time to release though when you can't tour it, hey?
Yeah, we were about to do it and then everything sort of went haywire and we went, press pause, and what can you do? I mean, a lot of musicians released stuff. I mean, I did. With Mules, I released, I think, 3 singles during lockdown because there was nothing else for us to do, and I was teaching myself how to mix and produce. Fuck it. And a lot of artists did, but they just couldn't tour it.
Everyone's at it, we're bouncing off the walls at home, and everyone's buying all the audio equipment. So at one point, it was actually hard to find a mic stand to buy.
Yeah, I remember going into the local music shop here, and I went to go get something for my little makeshift home studio here. And I remember talking to the guys, and I said, "Oh, are you guys not selling studio equipment anymore?" And I was, "Yeah, we can't get any in." It all went out. All the like the sound cards and audio interfaces, they basically had. Well, I think they had 1 or 2 left on the shelf. All the monitors were gone. I think there was only like the large, was it the Rockrite, whatever, the black and yellow ones. I think they had large left. All the sort of like the medium size and small ones had all gone. It's crazy. Everyone's just went, yep, fuck it, we're going to make music at home.
Exactly, yeah.
Why not?
I think it could be a great independent music revolution, and in a time where people can't go out, or people can go out a bit more now, but they can't dance. So like all the cool cats don't necessarily want to go out to the pub because it's a bit of a oppressive environment. People are chewing through content online. So what are you going to do? You're going to make some video clips.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some singles and stuff.
Let's do some TikToks.
Oh God.
Yeah, everyone else is doing it. Well, man, that's how Tones and I and Lizzo, they got big. It was from TikTok first. It wasn't anything else. It was TikTok that did it.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, if you release music, then you'll be on there. I don't know if you realise that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chelsea's been experimenting with TikTok.
Do it. Do some weird shit with your finger.
That's a good idea. I've been exploiting the mermaid videos on TikTok.
Yep. That'd be a good call. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this film clip because it's pretty kick-ass. Firstly, Tom, you doing that rap section, how the hell did you do that? Was that one take?
It's when I first embarked upon that, I got about a quarter of the way through it, and over time I built up a bit of a tolerance to not breathing, and got over the fact that your natural impulse when you're singing or rapping is taking breaths. Where the breaths are, so you got enough to get through it. So getting over the impulse to gasp inwards and feeling all the water in your mouth, and I ended up doing the whole thing in one take a few times over. I just took a deep breath, strapped the weights on, sank down there, and kept going.
So where was it filmed?
It was filmed in the Apnea Art tank. So there's a tank in the Byron Shire. It's basically like a human-sized aquarium. So we shot half of it there, and then we shot half of it in the Brunswick River.
Yeah, so that's why I was a bit confused, because I saw the like the behind the scenes, that sort of stuff, where you were in the Brunswick River there. I thought, that's pretty clean for in the Brunswick River, getting those shots like that.
It does get very clear in the river at high tide. But we had the tank to shoot like all of the really close, intimate stuff, and we blacked out the inside of the tank, so all around the edges was all like black curtains on the inside.
And the photographer lighting?
No, we had like a spotlight shooting down into the water.
Yeah.
But it was all like very dark. And when you drop down into the water and it's so dark and you're not wearing a mask, it's pretty hard to see anything really. So you can see the camera lens like a meter away. But apart from that, it was like a bit scary in a way, because you're like, oh, I can't see.
Quite peculiar. I mean, they had all these LED strip lights that are all controlled via DMX and an iPad, so you can have different colours and adjust the lightings.
Yeah.
We also had Andy Bowles there, who's a good friend who's done a lot of filming and photos for the 420 Sound. He came along with these light wands and lasers.
Yeah, he had LED wands like across the top of the tank and like shooting laser beams into the water.
And we kind of mucked around and experimented with a lot of different stuff. It was like every Friday night for about a month we would go to the tank and just experiment with a lot of different things.
Like the test shooting, it would have been pretty insane doing that. And you guys surely didn't film this during winter, right?
I think we started in August, so it was pretty cold. The Brunswick River, it was freezing, like absolutely freezing.
Wow.
The tank has a heater.
Okay.
So the water was like 24 degrees.
So yeah, it was tepid in there, and the cameraman Harry Weber, amazing. He was under there for hours. He got an air compressor so he could breathe constantly, and he had his underwater enclosure.
Yeah.
And he was just under there for hours and hours on end, like an absolute trooper. While we're doing take after take after take of all these different mermaids and raps and stuff.
Because it's not a short song either.
No. That's the radio edit.
But really, it didn't really take that long for it to all come together, because we started making the clip in like August.
Yeah.
Released it in December. So it's a pretty fast turnaround. We did one night of test shooting and then 3 days of recording, like of actually shooting. And then we got Meg Noel, who's from down here as well, to put it all together, and everything, like we'd mapped it all out before we started. Before we got into the tank, we had like all of the scenes and the whole story already figured out. So then it was, it just came together really easily.
As long as it's storyboarded. Nice. A lot of people forget the absolute key to getting a decent film clip is bloody storyboarding.
Yeah, that was really cool. And we didn't really have to adjust the storyboard once we got in and started shooting. Like it worked how we thought it would. So that was pretty cool.
How comfortable was the actual mermaid's tail stuff though?
The mermaid tails are really hard to swim in, like especially if there's a current. Was from the day that we did the shooting in the Brunswick River, when the tides are really high or really low, you get like a huge current during the changeover time.
Yeah.
So we had 20 minutes of slack tide where the current wasn't crazy. But the rest of the time we're like swimming into the current and then trying to get back against the current with the mermaid tail on, with no snorkels or masks. And we were just like, we're dying. But luckily we had friends there with the surfboard who were like towing the mermaids back.
Oh, mermaid towings.
Yeah, it was the mermaid towing service. And then do it all again. Just like freeze in the breaks in the water and keep swimming for a bit more.
The shit we do for art, huh?
It was definitely like mermaid boot camp. But it was
would you do it again?
It was so tired, but it was heaps and heaps of fun. Yeah. I would definitely do it again.
So you reckon?
I'm like, when can we do the next movie?
Well, I was going to say, would you actually tie it in with another release? another part of this journey they're coming through? Because I'm assuming this is, like you said, this is going to be a record, right? That you're wanting to do.
Yeah, we could do a whole record of mermaid.
Why not?
Videos.
I don't know, like, you know, that might the novelty would wear off if everything was mermaid. What else could we do? What other mythical creature?
Well, technically, you're a merman. Merman.
And yeah, if anyone has any ideas for mermaid video clips,
why don't you do like a piss take on Splash?
We could do that.
Can you remember her name?
Daryl Hannah.
No, I meant the mermaid's name in Splash.
Nah, dude, it's been that long since I've watched that movie.
No, it's all right. Well, someone asks her name and she responds, and it's just some really
dolphin
mad,
it's
like a mad, high-pitched, strange dolphin call that smashes all the TV screens. I was hoping you could replicate that.
I've got a pretty good memory, and I've got a pretty weird pop culture memory, but that one just escaped me. But again, it's been that long since I've actually watched that movie. But yeah, why don't you do that? That'd be kind of cool. Like, do a full, like, that could signal like a full breakbeat bit. I don't know.
There's definitely some ideas brewing, but I don't want to give away our secrets.
Oh, good. Don't do that. Yeah, people are watching and stuff. All right. So the style of music you do with also relies on crowd feedback all the time and not having people dancing. Right now, I mean, we can dance up here. I don't know if you realize that now.
You?
Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shit's got loose.
It's still allowed to.
Yep. But because you guys are back to playing like the beachy and that sort of stuff, yeah. Have you played the beachy again?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that fairly regularly.
All right. Is it allowed to have a little bit of dancing there, or is it still just sit in your chairs and dance in your seat?
People are allowed to stand up in outdoor areas.
Yeah. Ah, okay. Since it's got an open roof.
It's kind of, it's got inside, so you can stand up in outdoor areas. It seems a bit more loose in some ways, but people still can't really fully dance. I've seen a little bit here and there, and they're not as strict as they were. But I don't think anyone really quite knows where they stand, so to speak. And there's this weird kind of guideline that they've adopted there, where the audience has to be 5 meters from the singer.
Yeah.
So. You know that one? So that we're kind of like back of the stage, squashed behind this line.
Yeah.
And then there's a rope by the audience so that we can't project our particles onto them.
But everyone's like squashed in together behind the rope.
And out on the beach, they're all having a fat time, just all over each other.
Yeah, just wear a cricket uniform and it's a cricket match basically. Have a quick sort of like have a little pitch up on the stage. Charles can bowl to you, Tom, and then it's a cricket match, and therefore you're allowed to move around and have a lot more people there. It makes sense.
Yeah, we have been talking about putting on like a table tennis tournament gig, so that we have like the bands versing each other, like two different artists.
Band versus band mid-set.
Yeah. Like we do a couple of games of table tennis and then play a couple of songs.
And that way you're not limited by the amount of people who come to you because, cricket and sport.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're in a bit of a weird no man's land. It's because we are in New South Wales, we're somehow lumped in with the northern beaches of Sydney, technically. Although we're a very long way away from that, and there's been very little action with the dreaded virus in this area. But still, the laws are similar.
It doesn't make sense. I've been watching it, and like up here, it's apart from the fact that I think we just had because of that backpacker that was going around, and now people that have been in Orange or the Katoomba area, because he was up there. If you've been there on these certain days, now you have to go get tested. So great, it's coming up. Palaszczuk will probably go, no, everyone's got to behave themselves again, and be like, oh fuck, dude. All right, but it's okay to play cricket. Yeah, cool.
Hopefully not, because we want to come to Earth frequency. That's the next little festival.
Because you guys can cross the border and without any much hassle. Is that right? Because you're in a bubble.
You could print out a pass and we can come over.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to playing Earth Frequency, but I think one of the conditions of them actually going full steam ahead with the festival
that's not public knowledge.
I think that it may be tricky if people from all states aren't able to attend the festival. Then it may or may not be very realistic to put it on. I'm not sure.
Well, Elements went ahead, and that went all right by the sounds of it. Did you go? Did you go to that?
No,
we didn't make.
Read about a guy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That happens sometimes. It does.
It actually didn't get that much coverage up here, to be honest with you. It really did.
Yeah.
And I remember last time that happened, it was just it's like a headhunt kind of thing, and this one just sort of went whoop, under the radar. The only way I found out was because one of my mates actually did security at it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well, didn't know about that. And then there was nothing. I think there was one little article up here about something that happened, and I was like, oh, wow. But yeah, these, like Tom was just saying, is these things happen. It would happen at a metal festival.
What happens in the cities, in the clubs and pubs.
All the damn time.
Behavior. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys get to play Earthfreak, then that'd be all sweet. Because that's still February though. That's still 2 months away. Well, a month and a half.
And we're excited this time to be coming back our quartet, including.
Because you got Io playing with you.
Aya.
Yeah.
I trumpet and
Elena.
Elena Marchigot.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a full multicultural female horn section. Sounds amazing, and all voices on stage. It really lifts the act to the next level to have more live instrumentation.
Definitely.
Particularly
a bit more presence happening in there.
Yeah, and a lot of personality on stage.
Yeah, and that was one of the different things about Wind Blows was we had, instead of like saxes and trumpet, we mixed up the instrumentation with flute, clarinet, and trumpet. Mm-hmm. A bit of horn section vibe.
Who plays flute?
Me.
You play flute?
Yeah, it's a new addition to the Sky edition.
Okay.
So I've played flute this whole time.
I did not know this.
I've resisted playing flute for a long time.
Why?
Because it's really high pitched.
That's cool though. I mean, you could be subbing in for so many hip hop bands in like early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing like jazz flute.
Jazz flute.
Playing a bit of nosebleed section with the Hilltop Woods.
It has to be flute with delay on it. That's the only kind of flute that I do.
To be honest with you, if I didn't hear your sax without delay on it, there'd be something wrong too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nothing wrong.
The vibe.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah. Next that we're going to release has flute on it as well.
Good.
True. Yeah, we've got another one ready to go. We're just we're pondering perhaps a release around Valentine's Day and the Earth Frequency weekend.
That'd be cool. Tied in.
Yeah. That's another production from the COVID lockdown times, and it's aesthetically in some ways quite similar to Wind Blows, but rhythmically it's a different beast.
You're being very elusive with that one, though, so I guess we have to wait.
Yeah.
It's got the jungly dancehall vibes.
Yay! Yeah. That's cool.
Whereas, Wind Blows is more, I think it's a bit more soul and like underlying hip hop kind of element to it.
I couldn't help but draw like comparisons to like Underwater Love when that song came out, when the film clip came out. But at the same time, though, it's actually got a very similar sort of vibe happening to it too.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that. I didn't want to be like being stereotypical and drawing very, very close conclusions because of the fact they're both based underwater and stuff. But it actually does. It's, I don't know, kind of strange. You probably didn't even realize you were doing it at the time. And you just went, back subconsciously. It's just seeped in there. It happens.
Well, yeah, listening to the track when we were trying to figure out. When I had this idea last year, I started free diving and then experimenting with mermaiding. I was like, we need to make an underwater video clip. And we made Wind Blows. And listening to that track, I was like, oh, it feels like it's got an underwater vibe, even though it's wind blows. It's a different element.
I mean, there's a lot of filtering on the beats, and I suppose if you're using low pass filters a lot, it kind of would emulate the sound of being underwater.
Muffled effect. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. In layman's terms, muffled things. There's a lot of that going on. It's actually, I mean, the whole composition process. It's not as contrived as we didn't set out to try and make anything in particular. Like Chelsea had a cool drum loop probably a couple of years ago, and I like this drum loop. I chucked it in the machine. We'd been recording with Tahu Dubs and Stain Ice, making a tune called Decisions, which had a really chord progression, and that subconsciously came out. A very similar chord progression came out, and a track started to build a track. And then often what we'll do is if we've got a beat, and a rhythm, and a groove, when we've got a smaller gig, like a 3-set gig that we've got a bit of time to fill, we'll just chuck one grooves in and jam something on it.
Yeah, especially when we're playing at the markets, we tend to do.
Yeah, it's a good place to do that.
Yeah.
And often Chelsea will just find a cool hook, and then over time we'll do more and more gigs, and it will evolve into quite a good tune, and then we'll go back over it and re-record. So I mean, we do quite a lot of songwriting at gigs.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I miss doing that, man, because Barefoot used to do that quite a bit. I mean, could be worse. I remember it was actually a jam between me, Rowie, and Ash when we had to play Melbourne Cup Day at Drift Bar, and we had some and we had some sets. We had to fill in some stuff, and Ash, I remember Ash just going, look, just come up with a line. I went, okay, and start playing this line. He goes, oh, that's cool. And Rowie was playing drums, and we just jammed it out. And then the next practice session, Ash has just turned up with these lyrics. He goes, you remember that bass line? I went, yeah, kinda. And he started playing it, and I went, well, that's not it exactly, but we'll use that. It's cool. And then turn into Could Be Worse. And we used to do the same thing though, but because we don't do these 3-hour sets anymore, a new song takes almost like 6 months to bloody develop anymore.
The upsides of long gigs.
That is, but my back thanks not doing that anymore.
Oh yes, the bassist back.
The bass player back.
I'm going to osteo once a month now to correct my left shoulder. Well, the 6-string is playing 3-hour shows with that 6-string has been contributed to my left shoulder just being right out of whack.
Yeah, so it's pretty common for bass players to be a bit out of whack. That and lugging those bloody quad boxes around.
I refuse to do that anymore, man. I got a 210 and my head. That's all I do now. We don't even need to use the quad boxes anymore. It's all front of house.
Yeah.
See, there is the temptation to buy a fridge every now and then you just sort of look and just go, no, I'm not carrying that upstairs.
No way. Right. I've actually been shopping around for a smaller rig for smaller gigs.
He's been looking for 2x10s, but I'm like,
212s.
Is it just going to turn
212s?
Is it going to turn into the 210s plus the 410s?
Well, I actually used to do that and I still actually do have a quad box here as well as that, but I have no need to use it. That's the thing. Like the 210s does the job, and I've got a Sans amp too. So basically, anything front of house will go straight into I'll direct out straight out of the Sans amp straight to the front of house, so they can control whatever they need there, and I use my amp as a fallback.
Have you tried in-ears?
If I had the money to do it, and Barefoot's supposed to be on in-ears for some time now, and we still haven't done it. Can't do it with mules. That would just be ridiculously hard. And swimsuit issue with the other band. I mean, don't know. There was talk about last night actually, but it's money. In-ear systems are not cheap.
Yeah.
Though I do have some Shure 215s here that I would use as in-ear monitors. They're perfect for it.
I'm pondering it before I go searching for more bass cabs. Pondering the in-ear thing because it's doing a loop show. It would be massively beneficial.
I would have thought you would have been doing that anyway.
Chelsea's on the in-ears.
Yeah.
She's got a very fancy, like moulded ones with sparkles on them, mermaid in-ears. I'm just dubious as to whether I can do the bass justice without spending $5,000 on them.
They're pretty.
You just need to get one with like 4 drivers in it. Yeah, see, they're fancy, but
and they sound amazing.
Because you should be able to run if you had a Sans amp. Do you have a Sans amp, Tom?
I've got a PT bass one.
Well, yeah, whatever the case is, like you should be able to get a line out into your own sort of in-ear monitoring thing anyway.
Yeah, I think there was like talk of like getting a Midas, one of those Midas kind of wireless controls mixers, and just taking a split off of everything, and taking a couple of boxes out for our ears, and then having zero sound on stage, and not having any problems with hectic madness in the loops. Yeah, we'll see. I am a bit of an old school bass junkie.
You got to feel it, right?
Yeah, you got to feel it.
That's exactly it. Because I remember playing with some friends of mine that are progressive metal, I guess they are. They're now based in Melbourne. Playing a festival with them and going to the side of stage, and all you could hear was the drums and just like clacking of strings. And then you go around the front and you go, oh shit, that sounds massive. And you go around the side again, you go, that is so weird. And I could imagine being on stage with all in-ears like that would just be mental. Like
and also,
I remember Cat Empire play at Queenscliff. Last Queenscliff. And they were all on in-ears apart from the bass player, I think.
Well, he would have
and you could hear the drums.
Yeah. But he had an amp on stage.
It sounded strange, like not being able to hear anything else on stage.
I just wonder about feeling a bit isolated.
Yes.
And not feeling as connected to the band.
This is the main thing I have too, because of the fact that like if I did, I'd probably only have one ear in and one ear out, because you'd feel like you're actually you feel like you're isolated and you're not having this interaction with the audience. The whole thing with the air moving from all the amps going around and them breathing. Well, I mean, we shouldn't mention that because COVID, but basically that interaction kind of gets separated when you go into the realm of the in-ear monitors. That's the one thing that stopped me from doing it.
An ambient mic on the stage, and then a feed of like the audience sound and front of house. You can still blend that into your mix, into your ears, so that you don't lose that atmosphere.
Yeah, because that would almost feel claustrophobic to me, I would say.
I think you got to try it maybe.
Yeah,
because I've been running ears for a long time now, and it definitely felt like that a little bit at the start, but once you get used to just being able to hear everything really clearly all the time,
it's definitely it's notably Chelsea singing is noticeably more accurate when she's on the ears.
Because you can hear yourself. You can adjust yourself.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah.
Because I can hear myself.
So it's like a next level quality.
Yeah. I've got direct access over how much I can hear myself too. Whereas, if you're working in different stages with different sound engineer, different foldbacks, it's really hard to get consistency for your monitoring, unless you're like barefoot and you've got.
Well, the benefit that you guys would have is that you don't actually have a drummer, so you don't have to work to click track or anything, right? You're basically working off the loops and the beats that you actually have, which are actually Ableton and actually precise and to a tempo.
Yeah.
Whereas with poor Shawnee would be having to use the click track and having to hear this boop, 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 going all the goddamn time, and I can't imagine that'd be fun.
No.
Nah.
No, I wouldn't want to do it.
No. I do want to bring up the finger. We're gonna because we're getting close to time. But yeah,
all right.
The finger. Actually, can we see the finger, Chelsea? Can we see the finger? So it's all healed up, right?
It's all healed up. It's a bit wonky, a little bit wonky, but compared to my other finger, they pretty much look the same now.
So what exactly did you do?
Well, I was chopping wood with the short-handled axe, which I would recommend to everyone to not use a short-handled axe to chop wood. You need to use a long-handled axe because then your fingers are nowhere near the wood.
Yes.
But I was like just getting ready to chop the wood and the axe slipped and it went like halfway through, like diagonally halfway across my fingernail. Almost all the way through. It was really, really close to the bone, so they decided to reattach the top bit, even though it was like 24 hours later, so that bit of tissue was dead. But they did a nail bed repair, like, amazingly, and then just stitched everything else back on to they said it was to be a sterile dressing so that I didn't get an infection in my bone.
Okay.
Because other option was they were just going to take the whole tip off.
Oh. Was there any?
But they decided they would have had to shave the bone if they did that.
Yeah, I was going to say, was there any nerve damage?
No, not like as far as the nerves that run all the way to the fingertip. So there was a lot of nerves that got chopped off. But everything's reconnected and grown back. There's a little bit of scar tissue that feels a bit weird still.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, really. It was super, super sensitive when it first all healed.
Yeah, it'd be like growing a new limb, basically, because of the fact that
it felt like my finger was on drugs, like be touching everything, like ooh.
Well, did you have to retrain it for any sort of sax playing or anything?
Not really. I've had to do some stretches and just kind of re-stretching out the ligaments.
Yeah.
And muscles again, but there's no muscles in your fingers. I learnt.
There's no muscle in your fingers? No, I did not know that. It's just tendon and flesh.
Yeah, tendon, ligaments. Wow. Yeah, and flesh and fat. Yeah, all the muscles that you use are actually in here.
So when that happened, what was the first reaction apart from holy shit? But did your musical life just flash from right in front of your eyes and just gone, I fucked it?
I was like, even if that top bit doesn't survive, I'll still be able to play saxophone.
Yeah.
I might not be able to play clarinet, which I was a bit scared of, but it seemed as though I'd managed to get the right kind of spot. Like, I'm really lucky that it wasn't further down, and I still would have been able to do everything that I love doing.
Yeah.
Once. It was a funny evening.
It was a
hilarious.
And funny.
There was a good joke.
Not in the humorous way. There was
a good funny joke on the car trip.
I just come back from work at SAE. I've been teaching for 6 hours. I was hungry. I was exhausted. I just came collapsed on the couch. And bless her, Chelsea was going to cook dinner, and she went outside, chopped wood for the fire because it was cold. And the next thing I hear is, Tom, I think I need to go to hospital. And I came running out. And I was like, you sure? And she just laid down on the floor in the kitchen. And I was like, let me have a look. And I looked at
I'm going to lay down so I don't pass out.
I was like, oh, you sure? I'll have a look.
I rinsed it off under the tap first.
So, okay, there's a big split down the middle of the finger. I think I've got to go to hospital.
Wow.
And then give her something sweet to drink so she didn't pass out. And then in the car on the way down, she was delirious, and she was like, oh
yeah, I had the car seat flat so that I wouldn't pass out on the drive. And I was like, Tom, I had an accident.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yes, you did, darling. It's okay. We're on the way to the hospital now." I was like, "No, it's a joke. Get it?"
She had an accident.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. But it kept her awake.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
the freediving training really helped with that.
breathing.
The journey, yeah, because I'd learned some really good breathing exercises that we do, like getting ready to go do a dive,
Yeah.
and just focus on my breath and yeah, stay conscious, which was pretty.
It could have been worse. I mean, you look at Rob Stanley, Stanley Knife from Dead Kelly. He actually lost his left index finger from a spray gun accident. And that was 2 years ago. So he had to retrain his whole hand to do all that shredding with 3 fingers.
Yeah.
It's intense. Yeah, so you're dude, very lucky.
Lucky. But it looked really scary as it was healing, because the stuff that they reattached just died, so it was like black and gunk. Yeah. I was going back to the surgeon every week for checkups, and they'd look at it and they'd be like, "That looks really good. Just try and use it normally." I'm like, "I can't use it normally. Can I go swimming? No. It's like still bandaged up. Just try and use it normally."
Like, yeah, it looked like, it did look like a dead thing, didn't it?
It
for a while.
looked bad.
Like a air fried hot dog for 6 hours.
Just like something out of Michael Jackson.
Yeah. It was really gory. I'll make the video.
Do it, man. Just put it on TikTok. That thing will get like millions of views. I guarantee you. Yeah. And put your sound in the background. That way you actually get royalties from when the sound does it.
Sure.
You never know, man. Seriously, it's weird.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I think we'll give it a go. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, we managed to drag Chelsea out for a few gigs on the Keys during this healing period.
I did see that.
And she was trying to play with one hand, and then she kept like instinctively using the other hand, and then there's one live stream where it started bleeding out, and she was holding it up in the she was playing, trying to hold it up so I didn't bleed too much.
Question.
Passing out, like.
Yeah. That's when I whacked it as well that time.
Was that with Jesse Morris?
It was with Jay Squidge and the 420 Sound. One of our live streams from Howler.
Yep, I did actually catch like the tail end of that one, I do believe.
With some good sessions there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think my playing got a bit better during that period too. It's gone out the window now.
Look, to be honest with you, finger injuries do that. I mean, we've already gone over time here, but fuck it. I remember when I was playing bass in high school, and we were gigging quite a bit, and I was outside, and they were chucking a gridiron ball around it, and one came straight to me, and I either was going to cop it in the face or I grab it with my hand. And when I went to grab it with my hand, it bent these 2 fingers back. Like, it's still, I don't know if you can see that, but it's still like 25 years later, it's still got these lumps on the top there. Yeah. And I actually had to learn to play bass with just those 2, like that. So I had to develop real quickly, do that. And I couldn't play with those 2 fingers there for probably, I don't know, 3 months or 4 months or so, because it just hurt. Yeah. It's just one of the worst things. And apart from losing your voice, is fucking your fingers up. I hate just the thought of it. Even when I go for a skate these days with my youngest and that sort of stuff, that's the first thing that comes to my head. Is like, just skate with a fist. Skate with a fist.
Regular.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we'll wrap this up. Yeah. We've gone to nearly 50 minutes, so that's I haven't done a long podcast like that in quite some time, so we'll wrap this one up. Congrats on Windblows. I will put the link in the video, the description below.
Lovely.
Keen to hear the next one, and I want to see this finger horror story on TikTok, so then we can do that too.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I won't see it Earth Frequency, but I know a lot of my friends are going to that, and they will see you there. I mean, I don't do Fests. It's just not me. I've had enough. I've done them. Yeah.
That's all right.
Relentless, though Earth Frequency is probably one of the best ones, I would have to say. I did enjoy doing that one. So have fun, guys, at that one. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sky Eater.
Woo!
Yo.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you have not done so yet, please go and press the subscribe button. You'll be alerted when we have more podcasts available, which we do. I've got them lined up for the rest of the year. It's sick. I love it. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Chelsea and Tom for being part of this, the very first podcast of 2021. Do check out their song, Wind Blows. Thank you for supporting local music, live music, Australian music, all sorts of music. You guys are legends. Cheers.